Time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. We're going to be wrapping up the year. Yavapai Silent Witness Director Chris Wilson joins us in studio again today. Phone number for Silent Witness is 1-800-932-3232. Their website is yavapaiSW.com. Go to the website, see all kinds of information. We've got a Catch-22 coming up in January, so the information will be there as well as on the radio and newspapers and all that other. So that's a great place to stop. Chris, hello. Welcome back.
Thank you. How you doing, Paul?
I'm very good. So in today's show, we were going to go back over some cold cases and perhaps maybe some wanted individuals, but definitely over some cold cases that Yavapai Silent Witness has had on the books for a long time, YCSO,
Yes.
local agencies have had that they're trying to solve and just have not solved yet. So which one do we want to start with today?
I'm going to start with double homicide that happened in the Bumblebee area off of I-17.
Okay.
In this case, the victims were Brandon Rumbaugh and Lisa Gurrieri. And basically on Friday, October 17th in 2003, they decided they were from the Scottsdale area, and they decided they were going to head up and do some camping north of Phoenix. And so they borrowed a pickup truck and headed up there, and after not returning the following day because they both had to work, their friends and family started to get concerned, so started looking for them. And later, both of their bodies were found apparently shot to death in the back of that pickup truck in that area near Bumblebee, off of Bumblebee Road off of I-17. Yes. And since then, there have been no arrests. They obviously collected a lot of evidence, but we're still looking for information from the public to help us identify and hopefully locate the suspect in this case.
When did this happen? When did this happen?
October 17, 2003. Is when they disappeared.
Okay.
Yes. So I've said this before, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but our cold case group are amazing, and they're like bulldogs. They don't quit. They keep turning and overturning things. But we have cold cases featured on our website at Yavapai Silent Witness, and we like to go over these over and over because it's rare that we don't throw something out in the media on these that we don't get some tips come in, and some of them actually lead to more leads. Sure. They bring up more leads for these folks to work. And our cold case, we have cold case volunteers and cold case detectives that work it. And I want to take a moment just to highlight the fact that I think a lot of people might think, oh, cold case volunteers, they're probably not even cops. Well, a lot of them aren't. But the funny thing is they bring a whole different life experience to this. And sometimes these cases that for one reason or another haven't been cracked, they need fresh eyes and a fresh perspective. And these folks bring up ideas, angles that haven't been brought up yet because of their unique life experience.
Everybody's guilty of that. You get on that train and you see the track and you get stuck on that track and you can't get away from that track. And so it is nice to have a pair of fresh eyes come in and take a look at something and say, oh, did you look at this? And it's like, oh, yeah.
Law enforcement are always telling each other, think outside the box, think outside the box. Mm-hmm. Well, we can do that, but sometimes we get on those tracks. But you bring somebody out who's not, I'm sorry to say, we are all human.
Shocking.
But you bring somebody from the outside who's not even in your box. Boom! Look what you got. Yeah. And so I just want to bring that up. But for this double homicide, there's a $10,000 cash reward being offered. This is another case where people came forward and were able to get this reward up. So we're looking for any information. I don't know if there are some. We have photos. There's photos actually were found in a camera on scene of, and we've put that out in media in the past, and I believe it's on the website, of a room and a light. And that's, I know it's limited, but you never know who's. Oh, I've been there. That was over here, and we're looking for more information on these kinds of things, or anybody who might have seen something, heard something in that area.
Did they have an empty video camera case too there? Was it like a video camera was in it and the case was empty?
I believe the case was empty. I'm not positive on that, but okay. I believe that was the case.
But the pictures were on a disposable camera, if I remember right. The pictures were on a disposable camera, and then they got and we've had the picture of the two victims up on the screen, but there's the one picture of it's like an accidental picture up onto the ceiling, and there's a lamp and maybe a little plant or a window, but the picture again is at yavapaisw.com. You can find all that there.
And our hopes would be that somebody might recognize where that was taken. Some people who obviously will see that and go, well, how are you going to get anything from that? You never know what's going to jar people's memory or that kind of thing. And we have gotten some tips on that actual photo. And I don't know where they've gone. They've obviously went to the detectives. But people don't understand that sometimes it's the littlest thing that turns an investigation around.
Sure.
And we can't discount anything. You got to take it all in, evaluate, and that's what these people, our cold case volunteers do. I mean, they make phone call after phone call. They re-interview witnesses, victims, whatever, and turn the stuff over and over and over, because sometimes you get a big pile and there's something that gets caught in between that didn't get looked at or maybe wasn't considered under the proper lens, for lack of a better term. So.
Very good. What's a second one? Do we have like 3 or 4 to go through? We'll do a couple before
the
first break.
I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3. This one I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. This occurred in June 13 of 1987. And it happened in the Prescott area. Kathy Sposito was out hiking on the Thumb Butte Trail. She basically rode her bike up there. I believe most likely she was very into fitness. She rode her bike up there and then hiked from there. And other hikers in the area heard her screaming, but were unable to get to her in time, and she was murdered there on the trail.
That is so unusual right there. That part right there just gets me every time, that she was screaming. People heard her screaming. They ran to her location, and by the time they got there, suspects are gone, and she's dead. It just baffles me.
Yeah, and it was a horrific crime. She was brutally murdered. It was very violent. And even in 1987, it was a shock. Today, it would be a shock the same. But we're still, like I said, haven't given up on that one. We're still looking for information from the community, and there's a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in that case as well. And I'll reiterate it. We still get information coming in on that case. So, like I said, some people say it's 1987. Why are you still? Because we don't stop. I mean, there's still victims out there, and there's family of the victims out there. And just because it's been 20 some odd, I don't do math well, so it's been a lot of years. It doesn't mean that we need to stop. So,
I've had DPS in here too, and they talk about, and we got to take a break here pretty quick, but DPS will talk about how, they get complaints about I-17 shut down on the weekend or whatever because there is a crash, they're investigating it. And if it's a fatal crash, sometimes it takes several hours to investigate something like that and get what they need to get that together. And Danny Golden was here, a captain, and he says, if it was your loved one that got killed in that crash, you would want me to do everything in my power to make sure it was thoroughly investigated. So we have to do that with every single person. And I feel the same way about this right here. Kathy Sposito, so it's 20, 30 years ago when she was murdered. She was still murdered. She's got family out there, and she's missed. And we deserve to know who killed Kathy Sposito. I would want someone to work on that for me and get that solved too. We got to take our first break, Chris, okay? Okay, Yavapai Silent Witness Director Chris Wilson in studio with us today. We're talking about cold cases remain unsolved. Where can you find out more information about those? Go to yavapaisw.com. Their phone number, 1-800-932-3232. Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
Terrifying job. Snake handler, take one.
James, this is a really terrifying job.
Given the hazards, why do you do it?
I've been fascinated by reptiles since I was a child.
Tell me about your little friend there.
So this is Bear Hug. He's a Burmese python. We have him here at the Phoenix Zoo.
It kind of makes my skin crawl. Is there anything that rattles you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're sitting down with Yavapai Silent Witness Director Chris Wilson. Again, Yavapai Silent Witness phone number is 1-800-932-3232. The website that has all this information on it is Yavapai SW, silentwitness.com. And you can find out everything we're talking about today. So back to Kathy Sposito. So it's never been, apparently it's thought that maybe we know who did it, but that we need the evidence in order to prove it. And I don't think you can really comment too much on something like that.
Well, I can definitely say we've had some really good leads in the case.
Really good leads, okay.
There hasn't been an arrest yet, so that's still being worked. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of as far as I can go with that. But I just want to reiterate that there's no reason to give up on these. We have people that are still digging on and still making headway. So...
And there's family out there and friends that are just like, don't you give up on Kathy. Don't you give up on her. Yeah. Like I said before at the break, it just baffles me that here's this gal. She's very, she go to Yavapai College, goes for a bike ride, screaming out there. The public hears her, gets over to where she is, and by then she's dead. It's just, it's so strange that the suspect or suspects managed to slip away that quickly.
Right.
In that area. Yeah. Okay. What's our next one?
Next one is Arlene Cileone.
I remember Arlene Cileone. We've done this one quite a few times.
Yes. September 19, 2002, she was celebrating her 60th birthday. She started her evening out at Donna's Hut Bar in Prescott. Then she went to American Legion, and then she went back to Donna's Hut on West Goodwin in Prescott. And she was seen in the company of two men in front of that bar. There was also a van seen in that parking lot that may have been involved in her disappearance, but we're not sure. She went missing. 4 months later, her decomposed body was located just south of Prescott off of 89, or off of White Bar Road, I'm sorry. And the evidence was that she was murdered. So we're looking for any information on that. We do have an investigative lead that we've been looking for a while, but who also has a felony warrant, but have not been able to. His name is William McNamee. McNamee spelled McNamee. He is a white male, 6 foot 1 inch tall, 280 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. His most recent address that we know of was on Wetstein in Prescott, but of course that's been checked out, and don't believe he's been there in a while. So we are still looking for information to help us with this one, and we don't know. He's an investigative lead. We don't know that he would lead to something, but generally talking to people that we haven't talked to or leads to other things. So anybody knowing where this gentleman is, we'll take that information too. I mean, he has a valid felony warrant, so there will be a reward on that if the information leads to his arrest. And then not only that, we could go towards maybe solving this case for Arlene.
What was his name again?
His name is William McNamee.
McNanny, McNanny.
McNamee, like name with an extra E.
Okay, McNamee. Okay, William.
He's actually been featured on Catch 22 before.
Oh, okay, really? Okay.
Yes.
Now, I want to say, if I remember right, because we did have the new lead come in on the case, we were looking for... There was a taxi cab driver that was seen in that area at the time she disappeared. And they were like standing outside the cab, and I remember that was the story for a while when we brought this cold case up. Was there was this taxi driver that we were trying to find? Is this and I want to say, was it last year or the year before? Time fly by so fast that someone was able to go back in the old records. Somebody actually held on to those old cab records, and that's how we located Mr. William McNamee.
Well, we're still needing to get a hold of him. However, those taxi cab drivers, actually, due to the public giving us information, we're located and interviewed.
Okay, so the cab drivers are out of it then. We've already found
that lead is not outstanding, no.
Okay.
But this is another example of how we get to where we need to get.
Sure.
Is the public's help. And it happens all the time. This community is really big about being a part of the solution. And so they haven't forgot that it takes a village, and that's one of the most encouraging things of this job, is watching these people come forward and say, I don't want money, I just want to help out my community. I always try to encourage them to take the money, because there's always something you can do with it, especially around Christmas. But it is encouraging to see that this community really wants to build an even better community than it is now. So.
Awesome. It's very cool. All right, let's take our second break, okay? Yavapai Silent Witness Director Chris Wilson is in studio with us today. We're talking about cold cases. All that information is available on their website. Go to yavapaisw.com. Phone number for Silent Witness is 1-800-932-3232. If you have a tip, that's the number you need to call. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in-ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at candbhomes.com.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain-relieving salves, full-spectrum oils, CBD skincare, bath bombs, and even CBD for your pets. Come on by CBD Sedona today.
Terrifying jobs, high-flying linemen, take 3.
Josh, this is an absolutely terrifying job. Why do you do it?
It's a very demanding job, but very rewarding and exciting.
How much energy are you actually working with up there?
500,000 volts of electricity.
It's definitely not my line of work. Does anything shock you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left of the program. Yavapai Silent Witness Director Chris Wilson is in studio with us today. Quick note to make, Chris brought up during the break, is you can leave your tips in 2 locations. 1-800-932-3232. You'll actually talk to somebody and leave your tip there. Or you can go to YavapaiSW.com and leave your tip there as well. And Chris, you were saying during the break about 60% now of the tips are coming in through the YavapaiSW.com. So that's really good news.
Let me clarify real quick on that, Paul. I misspoke a teeny bit. 60% of the tips, roughly, are coming in via, they can also download the P3, the letter P, the number 3 app on their phone, so they can do it that way. So 60% of the tips are coming in web-based as opposed to the phone calls.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they're definitely effective. A lot of people like to take advantage of those different options.
Okay. All right. And then you can also make a donation there. And we should probably mention that Yavapai Silent Witness has a great big golf tournament every year in the month of September. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but that golf tournament was canceled this year due to COVID-19. So any donations that anybody would like to make towards Yavapai Silent Witness, they can also go to Yavapai SW to make a donation to Silent Witness as well.
Definitely. It's very appreciated. It goes towards these rewards and also our operating costs, which are minimal, but we like to advertise a lot. So it's very helpful.
I got to say, we're hoping to do it in 2021, right?
The golf tournament? Yes. I am motivated. As soon as it becomes a new year, I'm going to start preparing. I mean, it's not just a great way to raise money. It is a great community event. Get to see everybody. Everybody gets to get out and have a good time, and we get to highlight what the program does. So it's definitely something that I was hoping we would never miss on my watch, but you know, you got to do what you got to do with the times.
You got to do what you got to do. That's right. And some folks who may not have been able to participate in years past that wanted to participate in it, because it tends to fill up, I know, very quickly. Whoever's there in September tends to book for next September. Maybe you got a chance. Maybe you'll get in this September, this next September.
Yes.
There's always that. All right. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. Anything else that you can think of that we need to make sure we get out? I think one thing that we try to bring up each time is that if you have a tip about something going on in your neighborhood that you don't think is right, and you contact Yavapai Silent Witness with that information, some folks will think their law enforcement's going to come out right away and do something about it, but that may not be the case. If you're calling in something that requires investigation, a little watching maybe to see just what the comings and goings are at the house, it may take a little while before something's done, but don't think it's not being done. Is that right, Chris? We got about a minute left.
Yes, they got to be able to, a lot of times they need to have developed that tip. It's an anonymous tip, so it's not something that we can go and just kick somebody's door down if it's that serious of a crime. That, and I want to highlight the fact that if it's something that's an urgent emergency, they really need to be calling 911. We will, if we see something urgent, try to act as fast as possible, but it's not as fast as 911. So I want to emphasize that. But that being said, when they give us these tips, don't get frustrated if it's 2-3 weeks and it seems like nothing's happening. That doesn't mean nothing's happening. It just means that these detectives, deputies, officers have to develop more than just a tip. The tip is very important, and that's why we pay for them. But they need to develop it. We play by rules, and we need to be sure of certain things before you see visible action. So I just want to encourage that.
It makes sense. So keep that in mind when you call any tips. But if you want to leave a tip, go ahead. Someone's going to look into it, and then you never know what's going to happen. There's many times I get a story one day, and it's 2 months down the road before I actually have the finish to that story because the investigation is ongoing. So there is that. Yeah. Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate your time as always. And Catch 22, the next round begins on January 1st. So Happy New Year.
And to you.
Phone number 1-800-932-3232. Website again, YavaPaiSW.com. That's today's Countywide. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.